Hello and welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur's Inner Game podcast. This is a podcast where I interview very successful entrepreneurs with established businesses, and they share their mindset secrets to help you to grow your profit. Today, we're welcoming John Lee, who is a co-founder of PickFu. PickFu is a rapid consumer research platform that helps businesses succeed through real consumer feedback. Using PickFu, companies easily discover which creatives resonate with their target audiences, so they don't have to guess, they get the actual data. Thousands of global brands rely on PickFu to help them make better data-driven decisions about their products and get more sales. John is passionate about building systems that help others succeed. He has degrees in computer science, and his family live in San Francisco area, where he shuttles his kids around in his dream car, a minivan. I can resonate with that, John. I've done that as well. John, a very, very warm welcome to our podcast, and and to our audience. This is the first time they're hearing from you. I'm really, really excited to introduce you to them and to have a great conversation about mindset and all the wonders of mindset in your journey. So how about we start off from the very beginning and your own personal journey from, how did you get into this business? What were the key bits along the way, the key decisions that you made that helped you to get to this successful place where you are now?
Sure thing. So first off, Nina, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be speaking with you today. So taking it back to the very beginning, my co-founder, Justin, and I have been entrepreneurs and running our own businesses for, 17 years now. So we started, we went to college together during the dot-com boom. So the original dot-com boom, not, version 2 or version 3. We studied computer science. We always had dreams of, we saw our upper classmates go to startups, go to tech companies and so on, launch their own businesses. So we always had the dream of wanting to do a business together. There was always sort of an itch for entrepreneurship and just trying our hand in the game. But we graduated right as the first dot-com boom crashed. So the first dot-com crash. And we both retreated to large corporate jobs. I ended up at Microsoft. He was at Hewlett Packard. And we did some time there. Those were very formative experiences for us. It was really nice for me to be able to see how a very large software company operated. Met a lot of really smart and talented people there. But the itch was always there for us. The itch was always there. And, the funny thing is that, we would come up with these ideas and we would talk about it and, get excited about it and then go back to our jobs, get excited about it and then go back to our lives. And so we had this ongoing conversation during that time of all these ideas. And the thing that really convinced us that our ideas weren't completely dumb was that we would see other entrepreneurs go out and launch similar ideas. Like, here's this idea for, online calendaring or something. Oh, look over there. Somebody did it, right? Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Oh, look over there. Somebody did it. And so eventually, after enough reps of this, we decided to jump ship from our safe corporate jobs. That was in 2006. And our thought process around that time was, one, we're as dumb as other people who have gone out and tried these ideas, right? So our ideas can't be completely useless. The other thing was also that we gave ourselves a time frame. We said, we could always go and try this, give it a swing, give it a try. And, we're still, if it's in 1 year and things don't work out, we're still generally employable. So we can always go back. There is a general safety net there, right? And that was kind of the mindset that we had around going into business together and trying to start our first company. The other thing we thought about was the concept of the regret minimization framework. I'm not sure if your listeners have heard of that, where basically you look back at a decision when you're facing a decision and you look back, you try to think about yourself in the future. Will you regret not having taken this step? Or, like you generally want to regret the things you do and not regret the things that you haven't done, ideally, right? Obviously caveats to all of that stuff, but that definitely played a factor in our minds as well. It's like, this is one of the things that we wanted to do. So so that's why we made the leap to entrepreneurship.
And what were the key lessons that you learned along the way?
Everything.
How long have we got?
Yeah, exactly. So PickFu is not our first business. It's probably, depending on how you count, it's probably our third or fourth. I guess we've launched many things along the way. They're all digital businesses. We launched a menu aggregation site, and that was our first business. Income, yeah. So I guess one of the lessons along the way is really understand how your business is going to make money, and how your business makes money, not how you make money, but how your business makes money deeply affects the choices that you need to make around your business and around the lifestyle that you're going to need to have to support the business that makes the money. So example of that, our first business was a online menu aggregation business. We kind of stumbled into it. We thought that it would be nice to have a website where you can store your menus digitally instead of having a kitchen drawer where you have all your takeout menus and so on, right? And sort of crowdsource that concept. What we stumbled upon, we thought we're going to sell services to restaurants. Mind you, this is way back in or the early aughts, and so restaurants were very non-digital. What ended up happening, like that completely failed. What ended up happening was that we discovered organic traffic. So our business became publishing organic content and then monetizing through digital ads. Now that's a very different business than what we started out with, and making the choices required to grow that kind of business were very different from the ones that we initially anticipated. And so that was part of the reason why we did not want to, we chose to pivot away from that business, right? Because the way that the business made money was not conducive to how we wanted to operate and how we wanted to spend our time.
So what you had was the flexibility to pivot and to see a new opportunity rather than being stuck with that idea and just keep, trying that idea, even though you could see maybe it was very limited.
Yeah, exactly. Like having the flexibility to be aware of, just sort of think deeply about your situation, about your business. Like, okay, well, maybe it's making some money, but I need to do all this stuff here. Like maybe there's a more idealized state where I'm spending my time this other way, but I need to have that flexibility to look for the opportunities of, how can I pivot either this business or start a different business to be able to get to that place where I want to go.
Did you feel any sense of failure when that original business didn't work? Did you spend any time beating yourself up or thinking I'm a loser? What was your mindset as you were pivoting and seeing a new opportunity?
There are, as you speak with if you ask any entrepreneur, there's always ups and downs during that journey. It's been a roller coaster. And so there are obviously times where, we felt that things did not go as well as we would have hoped. But generally, I think two things there. I think, generally I feel like entrepreneurs are optimists, right? Because entrepreneurship is generally an optimistic activity. You're trying to create something that has not existed before. Therefore, you need to have the belief that you're trying to will something, your vision, into the world. That in and of itself is an expression of optimism. And if you can keep that in your mind, then and keep that spirit of optimism in your mind, then even if there are setbacks along the way, if you're able to channel that optimism and look on the bright side, then I feel that every bump in the road is more of just an opportunity for either growth or learning, or pivoting, actually. So I think, it's over the years, I feel like we've tried really hard to do, like my partner and I have tried very hard to do postmortems on a lot of different things that have happened in the business. And I think that helps a lot. So having a partner, a business partner who you can really have these discussions with, or a coach, or, maybe it's a spouse, where you can sort of have these opportunities for reflection when you hit those bumps in the road, that has been super helpful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone to bounce ideas off and
Absolutely.
to share the lessons with. And so what role do you think that your mindset has played in your success? And I know there's been ups and downs and you've tried something and maybe it didn't work. But, what do you believe? Because mindset is often overlooked by entrepreneurs because we're very busy looking at the external factors, strategies, and systems, which are all very, very important. Great sales conversations and how do you have, strategic partnerships, all of that stuff. But mindset is, well, for me, it's woven into everything. You can't have any of that without your mindset playing a part in it and helping you to make decisions. So what role do you see your mindset as having, and how much of a help or hindrance has it been for you along the way?
I think mindset has been everything for us, because we've definitely taken enough knocks along the way where there would be a lot of reasons to give up along the way, or spend a lot of time in self-pity and so on. I mean, life, and especially entrepreneurial life, is always going to be full of those moments.
Yes.
I think trying to have a positive attitude, trying to have that growth mindset, of seeing every setback as an opportunity to learn has been absolutely critical. And I think, honestly, we've gotten better at my co-founder and I have gotten better at that over time, actually. So it's kind of been an interesting observation. I think at the beginning, the ups and downs were, maybe the ups were more up and the downs were more down. But yeah, we've learned to react pretty quickly to some of the bumps in the road. It's really funny. It's total tangent here, but we were speaking about kids earlier, and mine are in grade school, and we recently went to the back to school night that they have, where you talk to the teacher, and in school they're also talking about the growth mindset. And it was an interesting chart that I saw, where there was phrases of a stagnant mindset and phrases of a growth mindset, both like laid out. And the stagnant mindset is the fixed mindset, as they call it, is the I can't do it, like this is impossible, and then on the other side, on the growth mindset, there is very much the alternative phrasing that you should tell yourself, right? Like, I'm learning something from this. It's hard, but I'm going to keep trying. And I just thought it was so funny looking at that and thinking, well, things that they teach a 6-year-old are actually deeply applicable to adults. Like,
it's wonderful that they're learning that this age.
Oh, I know, it's great. I wish they taught that to, yeah.
I wish we'd learned that when we were growing up.
Absolutely.
But this is amazing, because that means they're really paying attention to the mindset from the very beginning for children. So they learn it is the right language, isn't it? I mean, there's a wrong and a right language here.
Yes, absolutely.
And if that's reinforced, in other areas of their life by parents and friends and, other environments, that's really going to stick in their minds and give them the best shot at life. There's a really interesting, I was listening to a podcast, and the guy said something that really stuck with me. And he was saying that often we believe that we have prison doors in front of us, which is obviously, a mindset thing, that there are prison doors and they're shut, they're closed, which means we can only pace so far into the room and we can't go outside of that room.
Yes.
He said, imagine the prison doors are ajar and you can walk out of that prison. So we do shut ourselves in, don't we? And we think, well, other people are restraining us in life. and limiting us and saying we can't have this and we can't have that, we can't shine too brightly and all of that stuff. But
Right.
actually, we're doing it 100% to ourselves.
Absolutely. It's all mental.
It's all
Yes.
mental, and it has such a big impact on our results and what we believe we can do in our business. So what do you think is the most courageous business decision that you've made so far?
I think the most courageous for us has probably been that initial one of leaving corporate security and just going on our own. And actually bootstrapping ourselves along the way, I think is kind of the biggest one. Yeah, that one is probably the biggest. We've the other sort of meaningful ones I feel along the way have been more around making the decisions to either shut down a product or pivot our business, to pivot our attention to another business, because those are sort of the most impactful decisions, right? Choosing how you spend your time is probably one of the most impactful things that you can do for your business on either like a daily, a monthly, or like an annual time scale.
Okay, that's a great topic, because there's an awful lot of procrastination going on with
Oh yeah.
some entrepreneurs, and overwhelm, lots of lovely distractions, just around our desk within our computer. So easy to say, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, and then get to the end of the day and think, I've just wasted another day. So what works for you in terms of getting the important stuff done and not, spending time on things that don't matter? Do you structure your day in a particular way? Do you plan your day in a particular way? Do you have certain things that you want to get done that you make sure get done? I mean, could you share any tips with our audience?
Sure thing. I mean, I think like any entrepreneur out there, I've definitely been very self-reflective about how much productivity, how productive I am, and then what I'm able to accomplish for the business, and so on. And so I've looked at a lot of different I've tried a lot of different systems and tools and so on. I think the one that I think simplicity has stuck for me. So typically at the beginning of each week, I'll just make a list. I'll make a list of the things that I feel, the big rocks for the week, right? The two or three things that I really, really want to focus on during the week. I try to keep my schedule. I try to keep meetings blocked to certain days so that there's large chunks of time to work on these larger projects. There's the concept of the makers versus manager schedule. Your readers can look that up, where deep work takes focus, and it takes time to get into that focus. And so having the big blocks of time matter a lot. So having made a short list at the beginning of the week of the handful of most important things, as a natural procrastinator, I find myself being really productive on all the other things, right? Besides what's on that list. But I find that the combination of having the list, being able to see that on a daily basis, or even a moment to moment basis, like on a Post-it note on my computer, that plus having the blocks of time helps me to be able to get back on track. The other thing, which maybe more personality dependent, is that for me, the best work, I'm generally driven by like energy and interest in whatever it is at that time. So I'm very interest motivated. So if I'm hacking away at a project and I'm really into it, then it's easy, to lose yourself in the flow. So for those large projects, I try to give myself time during the week to at least make some progress at every sort of block, right? And recognize that not every single time I will get into that flow state where, okay, now we're making a lot of progress on that thing, but at least give yourself time for that opportunity to catch, right?
Wonderful. And what do you do when you really don't want to get started on something and you just find lots of different things to do? How do you get over that resistance?
Usually opening up the blank page or opening up that thing and just leaving it there. And really taking that first step. So if it's in the case of writing something, starting that page, writing down the outline, and literally just, even if it's just mid-sentence, even if it's just the first 3 lines, whether it's code or whatever it is, having it up on the screen and taking the first few steps to be able to get that ball rolling usually will help me take the next few steps and take the next few steps. The other thing that I like to do is actually leave things unfinished on my computer right before bed. So actually leaving things in an unfinished state for me, so not a good stopping point, but like a bad stopping point actually helps, because the next time I come back and look at it, I'll recognize, oh, I know exactly what I need to do to get back into it, right? I remember exactly where I was in that project, and it helps me jump back into it sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that when I'm being productive, then I get more productive, and it just sort of, it's like a snowball that starts gathering pace. And
Exactly.
those times where I get lazy, and I shouldn't label myself when I'm being lazy, that laziness can snowball as well.
Absolutely.
So it's really much easier just to do it. And then you find it just becomes a habit, and it becomes normal just to keep doing more and more. And I do believe that the more that we do, the bigger our vision grows, because we think, well, I've done that, and now I can do this, and now I can do this. And it's just a natural evolution and transition into a bigger vision, which makes life much easier. So
exactly.
So a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs, and they're marketing online and, growing their online business. What is the top tip you could share for online business owners in terms of growing their business? If they could do one thing, focus on one thing, what would that be?
I would say that my top tip would be to test before you invest. And I think that applies to both your vision of the business, like testing, doing some market validation to test that, oh, there are people who would pay for this kind of service, or this kind of, there is a market out there for what I want to put out in the world. So testing the whole premise of your business, test your marketing taglines. You should be testing your website before you put it out there. Even test like your headshots and your logos and your business name and all of that stuff. I think that there's opportunity out there nowadays. We're not living 20 years ago, right, where the internet, or not as many people were online. Like, there's definitely opportunities to test quickly, and test at an affordable rate. And oftentimes that kind of testing and validation it does not guarantee success, but it reduces your chances of failure, right? So it's more about our probabilities game there.
Absolutely. And before we talk about your amazing business, which I've tried out, so I can talk a little bit about it, I have one more question, which is, what is the biggest lesson that life has taught you so far?
Life is unpredictable, but if you have the right mindset, there's always opportunity to fail forward.
That's amazing. I love that. It is our reaction, isn't it? It's not the thing.
It's the reaction. Yeah.
It's the reaction.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Brilliant. So finally, I would love to share your business with our audience and how they can find out more about it. But before, we share any links with them, can you just tell us briefly a little bit about your business and how it works? And it very much, goes back to you when you were saying test things as much as you can to cut the risk of failure.
Yeah. PickFu was something that we built for ourselves as entrepreneurs, as a way to validate and get real unbiased feedback from real consumers out there in the world. So being developers, we were introverts, didn't want to go to a coffee shop and put designs in front of random strangers and so on. So we built a tool to be able to get that feedback really fast and really affordably. So PickFu lets you tap into, at this point, over 10 million panelists around the world, and do a quick, I guess, like a virtual focus group. about any kind of concept, marketing idea, anything you want about your business or personal aspect, and get feedback in under half an hour. And because we try to make it as simple as possible to use, so so that anyone out there can have fast feedback like at their fingertips.
Yeah, it's a really great concept. I tried it a little while back. So I think I was testing titles for a program.
Yes.
And it's actually quite exciting to see which title is going to
It's like
win.
real time. Yes.
It's in
Yes.
real time. And some of the people who were applying were actually giving some information about it, what they liked, what they didn't like. And that was great marketing language that I could then use in my marketing, because these are real people. They're not robots or, AI generated. They are real people who have opinions. So
Yes.
it's a really great tool, which it did help me to pick a title. So
good. I'm glad to hear.
And it's very easy to use because I'm not techie, and it was very easy to use. Is there a link that our audience can go to find out more about this service?
Yeah, it's so PickFu is self-service. You can go on to our website, sign up for an account, and get a poll launched in under a minute, basically. So the website is pickfu.com, pickfu.com. And it should be, we've tried to make it as self-service as possible. So there's a lot of guides on the site. You can read more about how the process works. With every PickFu poll, you get written responses, and also like as you mentioned, Nina, choosing between different options. But it's really the written responses that I think provide that insight and understanding of how your audience is going to view the thing that you're trying to put out there, whether it's like marketing or your website or, like a book title or a program name.
Amazing. And I would highly recommend that you go and have a look at it, try it out, see if it works for you. But it does help when you're indecisive between,
absolutely,
which way should I go? It's very hard to be objective about your own stuff, isn't it?
It's exactly. You should never trust your gut is what we tell people.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And thank you for sharing your mindset tips, your mindset secrets, what's helped you. And I hope that everyone who's been watching and listening, that you found some real value in this and some things that you can apply in your life straight away. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Till then, bye-bye for now.